wrap our arms around these human beings while at the same time enforcing our laws that keep them and keep us safe. And that's a balancing act that requires courage, and it requires sobriety, and it requires compassion.
All right.
Thank you. Mr. Melvin, my question for you is pertaining to Project Marvel. From your viewpoint, do you think that there might be a reason why the constituents weren't made aware of the venue tax when they thought of this idea? And also, what is your viewpoint on Project Marvel?
Thank you again, both Jay and May. So I think all of us, everywhere we've been, and even outside of the forums, I've been asked about Project Marvel. We're $13 billion, over $13 billion in debt. So we have to be very conscious of our spending. You know, I've learned a long time ago growing up that he who is in debt is enslaved to debt. So as long as we have a debt over our head, there's not going to be any tax breaks. I met with Miss Meany. She just opened another restaurant in La Cantera. She has a restaurant downtown. And she was asking me about property tax, lowering property tax, lowering business tax. Those things are very difficult to do when you got a large amount of debt. So we need to get the debt under control. Now, Project Marvel, I think it's a phenomenal idea. I think the Spurs and the city council that we presently had did a pretty decent job of getting them built to build the rock. As far as them leaving, I mean, they've done a lot of great things. Won 5 championships here in San Antonio? So we like the Spurs here. But I think it's a project that needs to be delayed until we get the debt under control. Once we get the debt under control, then we can do it. But the number one thing for my platform is giving the power back to the people. Those are things that you should vote on.
Appreciate your response. Mr. Pablos, my next question for you is pertaining to public safety. What would your approach be or what is your current position on the way that we are currently prosecuting criminals, and what is your view of catch and release approach?
Well, we saw the results in California when you don't have any consequences for criminals. Catch and release is a problem. I would actually go up to Austin and lobby for stricter sentencing guidelines, making sure that the punishment fits the crime in the sense that if anyone is committing any crimes, they should be punished. One of the things I've done is I've submitted my pledge to the Police Officers Association and talk about all the things that are impacting our officers. Morale is down. Officers feel like they're not important, they're not respected. And so I've committed to working with our police officers to ensure that we have happy police officers, that they feel like they are respected by this community. Now, as it relates to what's going on with catch and release, well, you know, we're seeing a problem not only citywide, but nationwide. And we've got to make sure that we work with our DA and make sure that the DA is prosecuted properly. You know, in my district, District 9, we've had crime issues that go unresolved. We had our cars broken into for the 5th time, and nothing happens. You call the police, they show up, they write you a little slip, and then nothing ever happens. So we have to make sure we go to the root of the problem, which also has to do with this soft on crime situation. So that's basically what I would do.
Thank you. Mr. Alvarado, what would be, if elected to city mayor, what would be your foremost priority?
Okay, my priority would be, there's so many priorities, there's so many projects going on here in San Antonio currently, okay? Street repairs, affordable housing that people keep saying funding's been approved, especially loose animals. And loose animals is my pet peeve. I had small dogs, lovely, okay? You hear about people getting attacked or killed by wild animals or loose animals, okay? And to me, this is what everybody talks to me about. We need to find solutions to see how we can work with animal control to fix this problem right here. Because there is a big problem. And when people are getting killed by loose dogs or somebody's dog, that becomes a problem. So I already have a solution for that. But besides that, before we do any more projects here in San Antonio, we need to finish all the construction we have here first, especially the roads. Because there's too much construction going on downtown. And there's no place to walk. Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Espinosa, same question to you. What would be your foremost priority if elected to mayor?
Hi, I'm Arturo Espinosa. I'm number 20 in the ballot. I'm the only Arturo there. We have a lot of laws and regulations that we want to put on the books. But really, laws and regulations are not going to solve any of the problems in San Antonio. I'm asking the city and any citizen that I need to open a center in the city where I'm going to build relationships with people who are homeless and people who are not. It is in relationships that we are going to move forward, teaching each other to stay in truth, to be transparent. There's no law that you can pass that's going to make us better. We need to stay with each other, learn who we are, and build relationships, truthful relationships with people that we want to help. As mayor, I'm going to be out there learning about the person who's sitting homeless out there, because I really, really want to help them. It is my passion, it is my care, and it is my love for the fellow men and women out there who are suffering, who need food, water, and shelter. It is cold out there. You want to regulate them out? You want to legislate
Thank you, sir.
homelessness?
Appreciate your response. Mr. Altamirano, I know that we're, have a little bit of a time constraint, so I just want to ask you the next question. So if you were elected to city mayor, what would be your foremost priority?
Thank you. So I have a policy platform focusing in 3 buckets: infrastructure, public safety, and economic development. Under economic development, childcare is a big issue for me. We got to retain talent here in San Antonio. We got to help our young families in San Antonio have a leg up in this economy. Workforce development and job creation, focusing on cybersecurity, bioscience, advanced manufacturing, and aerospace, and small business support. When we talk about infrastructure, construction, the never-ending construction in San Antonio. Who's being impacted by construction? Everyone, right? We need to address it and have our projects on time. Second, sustainability, making sure we have good transit options and resilient infrastructure that can withstand climate change. Last, housing is a big issue in San Antonio. The average cost of a home is $350,000 in San Antonio. Affordable housing should be a priority as well if we want to have a healthy service industry in San Antonio and support what is happening with our industry in downtown San Antonio and across the city. Finally, public safety, crime being at the top of my agenda. Animal care services, making sure that we protect our animals, but also address the issue of animal attacks in San Antonio. And finally, health in San Antonio. Those are my top priorities, 3 buckets and 9 issues. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time. My next question for Councilman Courage. I was going to ask you about Project Marvel. So what's your viewpoint on it, especially coming as a city council representative?
Sure, Project Marvel really is 2 things. The first thing was trying to improve our convention center, trying to improve our Alamo Dome, trying to improve Hemisphere Plaza. That was the original proposal for Project Marvel. And money was going to be coming from the state as well as local, but not using your or my general tax dollars. Now, the Spurs wanted to go ahead and move downtown, so that kind of got included in the view of what Project Marvel is. First of all, if the Spurs decide to move, it should be on their dollar more than on our dollar. And I think that I'm committed, and some of the other council members have committed, we're not going to spend your property tax dollars on building a basketball arena downtown. But we can do some of the work. For example, if one gets built, we should be handling things like traffic and parking and infrastructure so that people can safely get around Project Marvel. I think it's going to be a matter of more information coming out, because we don't have all those dollar amounts yet. They're still evaluating what would it cost to make those improvements. So I think people are misunderstanding that everything's already done and decided. It isn't, and it hasn't been. The next council will make those decisions.
Okay, thank you so much. My next question is going to be for Mr. Vicencio. Mr. Vicencio, if elected to city mayor, what would be your foremost priority?
Get rid of the SUV being shuttled around. That's being a good steward of the taxpayers. So the SUV costs insurance. You got to hire the driver. I can drive myself to work, or Uber it. Put the bodyguard next to me. That's fine. Second priority, and it probably takes a CCR, but it's a bold initiative that I have on my website, is that to allocate 500 SAP Academy slots. Now, will every slot be filled? No. But we are a growing population. We are not, the growth of the police department is not keeping pace with the population growth. Dallas has twice as many officers, and they cover less square miles, and they even have the advantages because they have about 30 bazillion incorporated cities that have their own law enforcement. We only have about 10 incorporated cities that have their own police force. So the support is super different. We're closer to the border as far as crime and so forth coming from the border and so forth. So that's the way I kind of look at it. Those would be my top priorities. Crime, public safety, stronger public safety translates into smaller business coming to San Antonio and so forth. That's the way I look at it.
Thank you. And Dr. Wesley, same question for you. If elected to city mayor, what would be your foremost priority?
Definitely, public safety will be at the top, because ultimately, if we're going to grow an economy, and I'm going to be the brand ambassador that San Antonio deserves, it's going to be hard to sell the city if the city is not safe. And so that's going to be a concern. Also, when we think about public safety, many don't think about fire. We always think about SAPD, but what about the San Antonio Fire Department? Right now, the San Antonio Fire Department is lacking ambulances. They have about 32 ambulances, and so ultimately they're serving over 30,000 people with each one. They're lacking them. We have 54 fire units, fire stations here, 32 ambulances, and I've spoken with the fire department, and they said we're short that. So if we're going to think about public safety, make sure we can serve them. We have waste here. I heard a question talking about those extremism, which I don't believe is extreme. We have something like that here in San Antonio, or if we do, I think it'll be beneficial. We've wasted money here in San Antonio by the tune of millions on the Scobie project, for example, whereby VIA took that avenue, bought housing, and now it's sat vacant for years, costing about $489,000 just for maintenance. We can take that money and buy those ambulances and really get to the heart of public safety, making sure we take care of our fire department. So that's going to be one of my number one concerns. Of course, economic growth. Doing that, we are Military City USA. Billions of dollars are contributed to our economy every year because of the military. As a veteran of the U.S. Army and a current DOD worker, I'll be talking with our state and federal representatives to make sure we bring things here to San Antonio to build.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Ms. McCullough, if elected mayor, what would be your foremost priority?